He once told Gypsy that if they split up, Gypsy could not be with me or he would threaten to take Aurora away. That's how controlling he is. And that's one reason I don't like him. He has threatened custody over her so many times since Aurora's born. How old is Aurora? 5 months? I don't like him for that. I don't like him for the fact that he calls her names.
Gypsy Rose's ex-husband, Ryan Anderson, has finally gone off on her on his TikTok. He's responding to her horrendous apology video that she made to him that she posted online, as well as some of the things that were aired on Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup Season 2.
I betrayed your trust, and you reached out to me postpartum, and you could count on me. You know why you reached out to me? Because you could always trust me. But let's stop acting like that was the only time you reached out.
This video is for entertainment purposes only. Now, before we get into this video, if you guys would like to follow me over on my TikTok, I'm trying to get to 10K over there. I really want to make playlists, which sounds silly, but you can't make playlists until you hit 10K on TikTok. And I'm only at 6,000 and something. So if you guys would like to follow me, I will have it linked down below, and I hope to see you there.
You know, I see the people always say, oh, he's protecting Gypsy or things like that. I'm not protecting Gypsy. Gypsy is not my concern anymore to protect, but I have to protect my mental health. Just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm protecting her.
Ryan Anderson has faced criticism in the past because Gypsy Rose has done him so dirty, but it always seems like he's withholding information that he knows about her or protecting her in some way. And some of us have speculated that this is perhaps he thinks that they may end up getting back together one day, but he also does mention later on in this live that Ken has threatened Gypsy on numerous occasions to take Aurora away, but one of the things that he has threatened is that if she gets back with Ryan, he will take Aurora.
He once told Gypsy that if they split up, Gypsy could not be with me or he would threaten to take Aurora away. That's how controlling he is. And that's one reason I don't like him. He has threatened custody over her so many times since Aurora's born. How old is Aurora? 5 months? I don't like him for that. I don't like him for the fact that he calls her names.
Not only does this kind of expose Gypsy for talking about her fights with Ken to her ex-husband, which is so inappropriate, not only does it expose her for that, but it also tells me that Ken thinks that that is something that could happen. And that's something that we've also all thought was a possibility as well. I mean, we've all been given the impression that maybe Ryan doesn't go off on Gypsy in the way that he could, because maybe there's a chance they could get back together. I feel like with all of the things that we've heard said so far, it is very clear that Gypsy only hasn't met up with Ryan because Ken doesn't want her to, because she has said to Ryan and to the cameras that she wants to see him again. I feel like when you're done with your ex-husband, you're not going to have a desire to see him. So it's definitely interesting. I also want to say that I feel like too many people forgot about Ken's behavior in the first couple episodes of Gypsy Rose Blanchard Life After Lockup, because when you watch those episodes, he was so controlling, it was disturbing. And even though it was Gypsy Rose that we were talking about, his behavior honestly came off dangerous. Like, when men act like that, they're dangerous. They're going to control you and they're going to create huge insecurities in you, and you're never going to feel comfortable with them. So I honestly feel like Ken comes off like not a good person.
Number one, I'm a teacher. Okay. Number one, I don't like being called a creep. Okay, because that comment is just so ludicrous. Look, I want to show you guys something. Wrote to Gypsy. People talk about the comment of me saying, oh, she was cute. Okay, the way her mother had her looking, Gypsy was not cute. Like, it was so wrong on so many levels. Gypsy, the way her mother had her dressed and looking, no teeth, all that, it was so wrong on so many levels. And I'm not referring to that when I say that she was cute. When I said she was cute, I was referring to her actually talking in the Mommy, Dad, and Dearest with the black and white, okay?
Ryan has finally addressed his calling Gypsy Rose cute, which has had a lot of us concerned because in her documentary, she looked like this. But he's clarifying that he didn't find her cute in this state. Of what he meant was that she looked cute when she was in the black and white. And I don't know why he called it black and white, because she's not just wearing a black and white shirt. Like, she's wearing black and white prison uniform because she had her mom murdered, okay, and was a part of it. But when he's talking about her being cute, these are the photos that he is talking about. I don't personally feel like she's looking too cute here. I feel like, I'm sorry, y'all, she's looking like she's in prison for the murder of her mom. I also want to say, like, take that part out of it, okay? Take the you calling her cute out of it. It is still mad weird to reach out to a girl that was a part of the murder of her mom. Like, you could be reaching out to anybody that you would like to, and you're choosing somebody who murdered her mom. That is just not normal. Whether you thought she was cute in stripes or whether you thought she was cute in a princess dress is kind of irrelevant.
When I first wrote Gypsy, the first picture I got back was this. Now, I had to dig for this. I had to look for it and find it. Shape or form. Okay? At all. That's the first picture I got when I first started talking to her. All right? I got sent that picture. In no way, shape, or form does she look like a kid. Our first meeting, I had to find this picture. There she was on our first meeting. When we decided to go be romantic, that's what she looked like the first day. That right there, that was our first meeting, and then we became romantic right after that. So when people say that I was attracted to her being a little kid and all that, that's just so ludicrous. Like, that is all woman right there. Gypsy's been all woman. My whole time I've known Gypsy, Gypsy was a woman, and she acted like a woman, and she was a woman. So I just want to point that out. So when people say some mean stuff and like hint around that I'm a pedo, I can't have that. That is so far from the truth, and it's ridiculous. And I just want to put that out there that I won't tolerate that. I will, if I see videos about people saying that, and I've only seen a couple, but I will do legal action on you for that, because I can't have that. That's just so far from the truth, and it's ridiculous, and I won't put up for it. So I just want to let y'all know that that bothers me. Okay, I'm a teacher. I've worked for an organization, charity organization. It just is so wrong on so many levels, and it disgusts me.
After his rant defending himself against the pedo allegations that some people have made against him, he proceeds to throw Gypsy's pictures, and when he throws them, Pixie ends up eating them.
This is Gypsy, they're gone. Boom. Throw them again. Gone. Pixie, go eat them. Look, I think she grabbed one of them. Look, I love my dog. Pixie. Pixie actually ate it. All right, I'm gonna pick the other one up. That's wrong on so many levels. Pixie misses her mama, I guess. Sorry.
Now he begins to address all of the drama that sparked when Ryan released a text where Gypsy asked him if he was talking to Amber J or if he was with her. So he proceeds to talk on why he released that text and clarifies that the reason why he did that was because Gypsy was showing his text messages behind his back. And also in the show, she was painting him out to be somebody that was going and texting her all the time when she was actually texting him.
I released that text, the Amber J text that I released. I released that because everyone knows she released a text of mine. I released that because I saw clips in the documentary where she was making me out to be some desperate, pathetic loser who couldn't move on, who couldn't do that, who's pathetic. And it was always bothering her and, you know, making me out something I'm not. And knowing what I knew behind the scenes, I had to release that because it proved that, number one, I wasn't the only one reaching out. It proved that she still cared, although she told the world I was the public and all this stuff. That narrative she was spinning on that documentary was wrong.
I think Gypsy has a very hard time being authentic. I don't think she knows how to be real. I feel like she comes off so fake because she continuously tells people to their face one thing that is completely contradictory to the thing she's telling the next person. And I've personally been around people like this. And this kind of behavior from someone, you just cannot trust them. If they can't say the exact same thing that they're saying to you, to someone else, if they can't get their story straight, if everybody was in the same room, they have a bit of a lying problem. These types of people are incredibly insecure. They do this because they don't have the confidence to stand in their truth.
Gypsy released something very personal, very below the belt, very straight for the jugular type, very something that I don't feel like I have to talk about. Something I feel like I have grown tremendously from. Number one, I've been a better person, got a college degree, did all this stuff. She knew she was below the belt.
In this part, he's referring to where she posted in her story a picture of someone who is on medication who had a previous addiction to a type of drug. I'm not going to go too deep into it here, but she released it in her story trying to imply that he had a previous drug addiction. And it backfired on her tremendously because people were like, you're trying to expose him for doing something to get better, break your addictions. Like, that is not something to expose somebody for. That's actually a great thing because a lot of people who have addictions don't get better. But it's also not something that you go and release behind people's back. It's incredibly inappropriate and wrong, and it doesn't matter how mad you are about somebody. This is not something that you go and put on the internet.
I can't believe you did that. Number one, I know how impulsive she is. I married her. I know her. Okay, I know how impulsive she is, and I know she doesn't think before she acts a lot of times, and that's fine.
I mean, it's honestly not fine because her mom ended up murdered because of her impulsive decisions. Okay, so that's nope, it's not.
Her friend gets on a live and they start saying how like they have this big dark secret about me, blah 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 blah, and you know, like going along with the narrative that Gypsy spewed threatening me. Like, if I keep talking about Gypsy, they're going to release this deep, dark secret. Monday morning, she wakes up and somebody told her that she was wrong, I guess, because all of a sudden she releases an apology flyer on her TikTok and Instagram with crying eyes saying, "I'm sorry" to me. Number one, first and foremost, you should have called me first. If you were truly sorry, you should have called me first, because the apology wasn't for me. It was for people who were ragging on you, and it was damage control. It was damage control because you realized you went too far, and your people probably told you, whoa, this is not cool. She got a lot of backlash for it. And in the apology video, some things I've noticed, all right, Gypsy, I felt like some of it was heartfelt, but it rubbed me the wrong way that you didn't call me. You didn't text me, say, "I'm sorry, I'm going to do this video." Nothing. It was all publicity stunt. It was all damage control for the backlash you were receiving. Yes, I liked that you publicly apologized, but I should have got a private one first.
Gypsy Rose didn't reach out to Ryan Anderson behind the scenes because she wasn't actually sorry. I don't think anything in her video was genuine. I think she's extremely manipulative, and I think that maybe if Ken wasn't watching her to see if she was going to reach out to Ryan, she probably would have contacted him. I think that Ken is now so involved in knowing that they were communicating behind the scenes, he probably checks her phone or something like that. But I do believe that she would have actually reached out to him because I think she's an extremely manipulative person. She was trying to manipulate him in that video that she did, knowing that he would see it, so that maybe he wouldn't say certain information that he knows about her when she reached out, because then he proceeds to go on about how she was trying to talk as if she only reached out to him after she had Aurora because she was struggling with postpartum depression, which in a previous video we already showed that she lied there, because there's other videos where right after she had Aurora she said she didn't have postpartum depression. But Ryan goes on to say in his live that she lied in that to save her relationship with Ken, because she's actually reached out to him numerous times and not just postpartum.
I betrayed your trust, and you reached out to me postpartum, and you could count on me. You know why you reached out to me? Because you could always trust me. Was always there for you, always have been, and you knew you could count on me. That's why you reached out, let's be honest. But let's stop acting like that was the only time you reached out. I'm sure that's what you had to tell Kenny Boy, that I reached out during postpartum and it was only postpartum. Okay, all right. Anyway, all right, so that part of the video was damage control for your relationship.
He also goes on to talk about how she was talking about how him releasing the text messages that she sent him about Amber J was him betraying her. And he finds that to be interesting because she did the ultimate betrayal where she went behind his back in her marriage and got with her ex-boyfriend and got pregnant.
The one time we did talk after the apology video, you said that me releasing your text betrayed you. All right, those were the exact words you said. Me releasing the text betrayed you. Girl, you have no idea what betrayal is. For you to sit there and say that I betrayed you, if that's betrayal, wow.
He also talks in this live about whenever he threatened Gypsy with Aurora because Aurora had his last name, and I do not agree with him on this. I'm going to play it right here.
Showing that I was threatening Aurora or whatever. Those texts were an argument between me and Ken. We planned this whole meeting to see Gypsy and the baby, and we were going to get a paternity test. We let Lifetime know we were going to do it on camera. And I even said, like, is this just for camera? And blah, blah, blah. And Gypsy said, no, I want to see you two. You tell Ken shuts it down. Ken threatens you, gives you an ultimatum, all this, says, you can go meet Ryan, but he can't meet Aurora. At that moment, when he said that, Aurora had my last name. I was on the birth certificate, and I had not been tested yet. You were sending me baby pictures. You were sending me this. You were sending me that. So, of course, I wanted to see you with your baby. I did. I wanted to see that reaction. And it's kind of like, you know, there was still that little chance because the baby was born early. And by the math, it could have been mine. It could have been. Like, I never said it was mine. But it could have been, and I had to make sure. Me and Gypsy were talking at that time. We were friendly. We were sending pictures, all this stuff. Y'all saw it in the show.
This is the part where I can see where he's coming from in the sense of her talking to him and sending him postpartum pictures and sending pictures of Aurora. It's giving him the idea that maybe they could still have a thing. Like, that's just what it was. So it's Gypsy's fault for texting him pictures and involving him behind the scenes in this manner that made him think that he should have the right to see her, because Gypsy was giving him that idea behind the scene.
I'm at work and I get a text like, hey, Ken doesn't want you to meet the baby. Ken's not going to let you see the baby. I got angry at that because at that moment in my mind, all right, he did not have that right to say that I couldn't see the baby yet. Now, does he now? Absolutely. Absolutely. But at that moment in time, he didn't have that right. I got angry that he was saying that in the first place because the baby is a baby. The baby would not have remembered me at all. I would not have hurt the baby. I wouldn't have done anything to hurt that baby. No, they had a paternity test that was done before the birth, and my lawyer said don't trust it, number one, especially after the day it was born. And I was in the text, I argued like, if I wanted to see that baby right now, I could. Okay? That's what I was saying. If I wanted to see that baby right now, I would show up with the police right now and see that baby and have him in the corner and crying about it. Because there's nothing he could do to stop me if I wanted to do that. And if y'all said I had no rights, I was on the birth certificate. The baby had my last name. I just wanted to see one reaction. One time with her and Gypsy, but he had a flip out moment and said I couldn't, and I got mad. I get angry. And I later apologized to Gypsy and said, I'm sorry. You know, and people said, how dare you not sign over that baby? All right, in the show, you saw I got tested. The moment I saw I was not the father, I signed over rights to that baby.
I feel like he should have just gotten the blood test done first, because why wouldn't you want to find out if it was your baby before you met her? That's why I've been saying from the beginning that I feel like there's still this thing where they think that they could eventually get back together eventually. Because if I was him and I was cheated on and that person had a baby with another person, like, I would want to know if I was blood related to the baby and if they were mine before I met them. Because honestly, after everything that Gypsy did, I wouldn't want anything to do with her. I think it's extremely bizarre that he was pushing so hard to meet Gypsy and the baby before he even knew if it was his. But also at the same time, Gypsy was giving him hope behind the scenes because she was talking to him, and who knows the things that they were talking about and the things that were said. And Ken apparently doesn't know either, because she tried to tell Ken that it was only postpartum when it wasn't.
You know, Ken was mad that the baby had to have the last name Anderson. Well, you shouldn't have got a married woman pregnant. I can say whatever I want about the fact that you are a homewrecker, because Gypsy was actively living with me. We were married. You used Gypsy's stepmom to weasel your way in, and you can sit there and say Gypsy was no, you knew she was living with me. You knew she was married. All right, so you know Gypsy's guilty too. Don't think that she's not guilty. Like, guys, y'all think just because I don't say nothing about Gypsy doesn't mean I'm protecting her. Gypsy was guilty in that as well. But Christy opened the door that Ken was begging her to pry open, all right, but Gypsy walked through it. I'm not saying she didn't. I'm not defending her actions either. But it's the fact that as a man, I'm speaking on as a man, Real men don't do shit like that.
He also talks about the part in the text message where he told her that if he wanted to see Aurora, he would show up with the police and be able to see her because Aurora had his last name. And he says that the reason why he did this was because now we have seen that she had called the cops on him before and come over to get some of her stuff out of his house.
I said that to her because she did that to me. So there's a reason why I said that. Like, if I wanted to, I would show up with the police right up because you've already done it. And I didn't tell nobody about that incident, and I wouldn't have. Y'all released that video. Why? Like, I'm civil in it. I mean, like, okay. And then dude who released it sitting there going like, Brian's a liar. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. He has seen Gypsy. That's not visiting with somebody. That's not. And if you think that's a visit, then you're sadly mistaken. I have not had a one-on-one conversation with Gypsy. Take that as me being a liar and me being that, but the police video made y'all look bad. Made y'all look bad, and y'all thought it was gonna make me look bad. But let me tell y'all something in that police video. This was around the time they were saying I was abusive, okay? Her friend did that article for people saying, let me in, which didn't happen like that, and I wasn't abusive. Gypsy has later come out and said I wasn't abusive. They show up with the police unannounced. And the sad part about that is me and Gypsy were talking that day. We were texting that day. She never once said, hey, I'll be over there later. Can you have stuff for me? Never once said that. And then the first thing I hear about it is a knock on my door and it's the police. I'm like, yeah, you need something? All right, so they did that. You hear me come out and be like, you didn't have to call the police. And Christy is sitting there filming it. Secretly, number one. Christy is filming it secretly. They wanted me to have a reaction. They wanted me to flip out, have an angry moment, flip out, do something stupid so they could spin that narrative that I was abusive or whatever they were trying to do. Gypsy later admitted to me that she didn't want to call the police. She didn't want to do that. Christy made her do that. Christy would not let her come up without the police, like refused. Even Mia thought this is a little much. Christy didn't realize that me and Gypsy were talking and we were friendly. You know, in fact, I said some sweet stuff to her that morning. But anyway, that's beside the point. Christy filming it told me everything I needed to know about her.
It's just insane to me that they have been trying to paint Ryan as this big villain in the story when Gypsy was in prison for murder of her mom. It just blows my mind how hard they're trying to twist it into him being like a danger or they need police to show up to his house, because it's not like that. Like, yeah, he has his things. We've talked about it in other videos. I have a Gypsy Rose playlist if you would like to check it out. He definitely has his stuff for sure, but like, he's not the murderer in this story here. It's just comical to me. It honestly shows how toxic these people are, and it shows you what they will do when you're no longer useful to them. It bothers me greatly that you can have a relationship with somebody and everything be good, but the second that they decide that they don't need you anymore, they go and do things like this, like they never knew you or like they don't have any respect for you at all. It's just crazy to me, because what did Ryan do to Christy? What did Ryan do to Gypsy? Like, she even said herself that she didn't leave him because he was a bad dude. She left him because she was in love with somebody else. So it's like, why are they trying to paint him as this really bad guy? Because until they show some sort of concrete evidence that there is something dangerous about Ryan, it makes them look like awful people. Like, I would not want somebody like this in my life. It's dangerous when you have somebody who's extremely nice to your face and smiles to your face, but behind your back says horrible stuff about you that makes people think that you need an entourage of police. This is just crazy.
She gave my phone number to a lot of TikTok creators and everything, gave my phone number away. And I was at school and somebody texted me and said, hey, it's unfair that Gypsy's giving your number out to people, and I think it's not right. All right, it's not right. And my first thought was, no, she didn't do that. So I said, I need proof. And the person sent me proof. My number's right there, clear as day. Bam, bam. And I was like, wow, she really doxed me. So I text her and said, why would you do that? I have never done that to you. Wouldn't have dreamed of it. Why did you do that to me? 2 seconds later, Ken texts me back. On her phone, texted me back and blatantly lied to my face. said she didn't do that.
Now, this is one I had not heard of before, and that was that Gypsy doxed Ryan and doxed his number. My God, it just cannot possibly get any worse. I feel like she will do anything to try and make other people look bad, and like she's an innocent angel, but there's no reason to be trying to make people look bad. Like, Ryan hasn't done anything to her. If anything, I feel like he's done her a lot of favors. I feel like the things he has said about her aren't as bad as they could be, to be honest with you. She just needs to watch out, because I feel like when her and Ken split, he's not going to be as nice about her online as Ryan has been. I can just tell that Ken kind of fakes this smile niceness for the cameras, and I'm just not buying it. I think that they're two completely different people when the cameras are not rolling. All you need to know is that when somebody's story isn't lining up, there's a reason for that. There are unfortunately a lot of people out there that will tell one person one thing and then the next person a complete opposite thing, thinking that those two people will never end up in the same room together and share the things that you have said that will clash with each other. And sometimes that happens. Gypsy Rose is just digging herself a very, very deep hole. It's insane to watch. You all are going to have to let me know what you think about this in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon for another video.